Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
This is webinar number 31, and we are actually revisiting because of technical errors. We could not actually get the live YouTube feed to work. So we're just filling in the hole, as it were. So anyways, this article or this webinar will be focused on the mobile station 2, or I mean the mobile station wireless.
No, wireless WLAN mobile station. Yes.
Yeah, that is part 60667. And we'll also be discussing expansion peripherals and all the accessories that you may not be aware of. So, okay.
Or at least explain what they do, and people will have a better understanding of it.
Exactly. So I guess anything we want to cover first?
Christmas
tree.
Get the Christmas tree out of the way. Let's do the Christmas tree because it is the November-December webinar. So.
Yep, I see yours in the corner there.
And mine is in the corner here, ready to go as always.
Slowly rise.
See the progress of yours.
And there's a little pot. Let me increase the voltage to it. See if I'm going the right way.
Yeah, it's a little blown out, but that's okay.
Yeah, it gets.
Oh, there you go.
See, look how bright.
Oh, that's insane! Wow.
Yeah, it's really bright here.
Surprised you're not blowing out LEDs.
Well, I did put a resistor on it, so that kind of helps. So, but yeah, I can tone it down. But when you tone it down, because it's a multi LED, it does sort of eliminate colors. You notice how it doesn't really go blue at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can just.
And that was the deal on mine. When I made mine, I bought wired LEDs, and then I had to resist the LEDs by color because certain colors were brighter than others. So to get them to the brightness I wanted, I had to use like 3 different values of resistors for the 4 different colors.
Yeah, can you hold that up closer to the camera, because from here we can barely.
I can a little bit here. I got it. See, mine's wired to an M84 too.
Yeah,
to make them flash.
So all your colors, they just flash in unison, like the blue goes out and the red goes out, but not mix. Is that correct?
Yes, I wired. What I did is I took so that it would give the illusion of randomness, because when I was a kid, this is the way our tree was. The bulbs would flash randomly, not the whole string. So that's what I wanted to recreate, and I don't know if you can see it in.
It's subtle.
The video. You can't. You just see points of light. But I have yellow, orange, green, red, and blue. Okay.
So how many circuits that you have flashing?
I use the M84 in with 8 different circuits.
You have 8 flashing inputs, and I'm just trying.
Yes.
Does that mean, did you put 8 resistors on each circuit, or how many? So really, how many resistors did you use? Just 3?
No, because I used about 3 different values.
Okay.
But I haven't counted them, and I'd have to take this whole thing apart to count
them. It is a cluster of LEDs.
It is a cluster of wiring down in here. And I bought LEDs that were already wired. I had to do my own resistors and figure that out, and then fish them up through the tree. And now what I did, I have some of them that don't blink. Okay. Yeah. Because when I was a kid, some of the incandescent bulbs didn't blink, and you put a flasher bulb in, and it would blink, and it would be random. So what I did is, on one side, I have a yellow that blinks the same as a yellow on the other side.
Okay.
So that, and they're all 90 degrees, so that wherever you look at it, you don't see the same 2 flashing at the same time. So I wanted that randomness. And so I have, I think I don't remember if it was 28 or 32 LEDs on here,
Yeah.
where obviously 16 of them flash
Yeah.
because I have four different circuits and two on each circuit. I'm sorry,
Right.
eight different circuits and two on each circuit.
Right.
And then the other ones just didn't flash.
Yeah. So this one, if I recall correctly, these are multicolor LEDs. They are pre-wired,
Yeah.
and I believe there are like 7 different colors.
Okay.
And so they, all you really had to do is, I just set up a resistor to make sure it didn't blow any out. And because there's 7 different colors, it's automatically set to actually do different patterns, which is, it's amazing for a little
Right.
tree, but definitely
Oh
saves
yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah.
resistor wiring. So, yeah, all I got to really do is kind of make it optimal for applying, like, color of the base. I'm going to trim the wires actually shorter because they're really long,
Hmm.
and then I will probably mount it to a little socket so I can actually take it off and plug it in without any real issue. That way I can turn it on, like I can use a an M84, I can use just a
Right.
battery. Right now it's connected to an old 9-volt battery that's probably putting out more like 6 or 7 volts. So
Yeah. I connected mine to M84 for one to just show what an M84 can do. I have it on random. Um, no, wait, it's not random. I have it on intervals. Each channel of the M84 is a different interval of time where it'll
yeah,
flash.
yeah,
And the only problem is if I stop the central station
yeah,
and then turn it back on, they all start their interval at the same time. So
yeah.
there'll be like three different sections where it'll light up around my tree until I turn them off and turn them back on individually.
Yeah, because what I notice is yours is it's got that slow flash like the really old bulbs do. They have a slow blink.
Yeah.
This one
Yeah.
here, I mean, if I try to slow down the blink by increasing the resistance, then it just drops down your color choices. Then it turns into really just right now it's just a red tree.
Right, right, right. And this is folks, this is what we do sometimes is we get an idea and it's like, okay, Curtis, this is what we want to do. You do it your way, I do it my way, and we compare. And this is basically what we've done here with the Christmas tree because it's just it dorks with LEDs basically.
Yeah, and it's the holidays, so it's not really
Yeah.
Marklin. It's hobby stuff. So
Well,
cool.
mine demonstrates an M84.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So
Okay. Well, mine demonstrates the Christmas tree that came with the Christmas car.
so that's our little nerd again, once again, the nerd Christmas trees.
That's our aside. So,
Yes.
okay, so I guess we'll get into a little bit of formality issues. The after I posted our newsletter, there was actually a CS3 update. So we are currently on 2.5.1, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. And we've heard people having issues with them. Um, Unfortunately, yeah, here at the Marklin offices, we don't really have an elaborate layout to uh, test these updates. Curtis has a pretty elaborate layout at his home, but you haven't had any issues yet with your
Not yet.
update?
I haven't had a chance to fully test it. And, the thing is, I think to some degree, I don't know if they've done anything incremental, but I think maybe when the updates first occur, potentially, I would say there could be a log jam of people trying to get the updates at once, and I don't know, maybe perhaps there could be code errors. Transfer. It's not code errors, I should say. It could be just transfer errors. Some might. Some I know some people might consider this some sort of an excuse, but frankly, it's like if you overload on a download, then you don't know if you're getting some kind of errors. But I haven't really seen any errors personally in this. This is probably loading it a few days after.
Yeah, we've been getting people saying there's errors, and it's not that we don't believe them. We just haven't seen them, and we don't. I haven't been able to test in a environment where I could see what the problems are and forward it to the factory. I'm sure the factory is aware of them, and they'll probably do a minor update.
Yeah.
I would assume fairly
Or
soon.
and what you can do is if you want to safeguard is you could probably, I think we did this for the couple of users, we had them force an update. So why you need to force an update in this case is that you've already tried to update the system, so it's not going to recognize a new update. So if you have error in that transmission, um, to force an update, you need to hold down the left control knob and the stop bar until it actually gives you a dialog box prompting an update. And I think that worked for a couple of people. So you can give that a shot too.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of weird not having regular live attendees, but we're just going to power through this webinar.
Yeah, it'll be shorter. I mean, the real webinar we did, it was just over 2 hours, and we haven't done a 2 hour webinar in a while.
Yeah.
It's too bad that was lost because I think we covered some good stuff in there.
Yeah,
So,
we were basically getting an error that apparently I think other Zoom YouTube users were getting the same error. So uh, we'll have to keep an eye out for a fix, and hopefully it won't occur the next webinar. So, all right.
so we can get into the newsletter then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Can you see that okay there, Curtis?
I can see that fine.
So unfortunately, when I checked, I have the wrong WLAN mobile station version on here because I thought it was the same, and I could swear when I checked it, it was the same, but it is actually different.
What are we referring to?
That
The part number or the?
the software version.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing with the Central Station 3 version. It was corrected out. So, what's the
And
software version?
I hear there's an update, but I don't have a way. Yeah, I don't have a way of updating it here at the office yet because I can't log on to our internet here to update it. But this says it's software version 4.0.01. So the minor
4.0.1?
4001. But I hear there's a newer version of it.
Well, you have 4.1 in the newsletter.
Right. So I just forgot a couple zeros in. Let's go with that.
Yeah, but 4.0 would actually be an older version anyways.
Well, I know. I know. So maybe I just glanced at it, excuse me, and saw that it was looked like it was the same as the mobile station version.
Okay.
But
You
anyway,
just, you just read too fast.
yeah. And you know what? In a couple of months, it'll
It'll be
hopefully be changed anyways.
eventually it'll be correct.
Really? Yeah.
We'll look forward to that day.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. So, um, also there was a slight mistake in my newsletter article where I mentioned that I believe it was the startup. I'm sorry, the My World controller, joystick controller can control the WLAN box where it isn't actually that controller. It's the My World where you have the four Delta addresses on the joystick. That will speak to the WLAN box for and that way the child can run his locomotive on a parent's layout,
Oh.
which is really kind of handy, really kind of a neat feature.
Well,
Okay, so
the speed on those controllers, because those start. We're talking about the trigger controller.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great for kids to control because it makes logical sense to them. But you know how fast kids like to run trains.
Oh yeah. I don't really see it happening without somebody taking off all the trains on the layout, but
Adult supervision is may be required.
yeah, no kidding.
Okay, anyways, go
So
ahead. Enough of my interruptions.
that's okay. So yeah, the WLAN mobile station, the wireless mobile station, comes with the pop socket, which is kind of nice because, like I said in the article, you could steal it and use it on your phone instead, which is what I would do, but I can't with my cover, my phone cover, because it has it has stuff on the back. Let's just say.
Should I do it?
So I can. Nobody can actually see you unless you talk because it'll just show me
Yeah,
because I'm talking.
but I can
So
do that unboxing if you want.
yeah, let's do that. I will stop sharing for the moment.
So already got the flap off.
Yep.
And I just
Ooh,
slide
look
this.
at that.
Ooh, this is the big reveal here. You get your manual, and this is the German U.S. language. Finland. That's the mobile station. Watch, I'm going to not have a pop socket because Rick took it out.
I thought about it, but I
You thought
figured, you know
about
what?
it. There you go, right there
I'm
at the
really
bottom.
I'm really not using mine, so why steal yours? You
So
know?
what is the intended use for this? Is it just to put it on the back of the the mobile station?
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Cool. Well, there you have it. I wonder if they'll probably have these things available for.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of neat. But the mobile station it's got these almost little finger holes in it in the back.
Oh,
So it really is easy to hang on to without the pop socket. But I could see where if somebody is turning it sideways, where because the screen turns sideways eventually.
the way the screen rotates. No kidding.
Yeah, the screen will rotate. Mine's not rotating at the moment, probably because I'm not connected to any kind of receiver.
So
So
yeah, it really is. There's little instructions, folks. It's a little handheld grip if you
yeah,
if you just want to go one-handed for it.
a lot of people have them on their phones, and it would work great for the mobile
Does it?
station if you want to turn it sideways.
I suppose it also works as a tilt, or does it actually extend? It does
It does.
extend.
It pops out for your fingers.
All right, let's see. So you get a little bit of
Apparently,
extension.
you've
So
never used a pop socket.
I've used one, but I didn't really see it. So you get that much extension there.
Yeah. Welcome to 2008.
All right. Okay. Very cool.
Okay, so when the mobile station powers up the first time, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. The it starts to look for available networks. The problem is it's in German. So what I did in this newsletter article was to basically show people how to get it into the language that you choose without knowing what it's telling you. And I went through basically about 5-step process here
Yeah.
on 6 steps on what buttons to push, how many times, and just to get to the language. And once you get it into English, it's pretty simple to set up. So the first half of my article was just basically, push this button twice, push this button once, you know, push this button, and then select your language. Um, I don't think I really need to go through exactly what to do there because it's self-explanatory in the article. Once you get it into your desired language, which I'm assuming is going to be English, um, you can go back to the settings for the wireless. And when it's in English, obviously, we can read it better. And it's fairly simple to set up. Once you find your network or the WLAN box 60117, you can enter the password of Marklin 160, Marklin 160. That's for the 60117, the WLAN. It's a password it's going to want. And that's the box that the startup controller will work on. So um, once it's connected, it works just like a mobile station. If you have a mobile station, you'll easily be able to navigate it, know what you're doing, and know where everything is. If not, you can read the manual. It's pretty much just like the mobile station manual, except for the wireless directions on certain things. So it's all fairly simple. All I needed to know was how to get it into English and then what the password was. And I was able to set it up right away using the WLAN box. Um, let's see.
There's no real. I didn't really. Oh, there's a lot of details. So anything to say about the WLAN box?
Not a whole lot. You're should be able to log into it, the box and the mobile station. I haven't found, I did it once when I first got it, and I haven't figured out how to do it again. But I didn't really see any settings that I would want to change. So I was thinking this would be a good article for you in the next newsletter, Curtis, to really dive into that because you could probably get it to hook up to your network at home.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't taken it home to try it on my home network yet, but I will. Um, so one thing to remember, a lot of times we've told people just to get out of trouble when they don't have or when they have a locomotive that doesn't register into a mobile station. No matter what they do, no matter anything, we tell them to reset the mobile station. Where you can do that with this mobile station, the wireless one, but it will not only delete all the locomotive data, but it will delete the LAN connection. It'll delete the password. You'll have to start it all over again in German, get it in English, and then set up the password and all that stuff. So it will. It's a little bit more involved. It's not so easy as just setting the language like the wired version. Also, just like a regular mobile station, the mobile station with the lowest serial number will become the primary device, where any other devices connected to it, whether it's wired or not, will be the secondary device, because it'll have a higher serial number. So that's something you always have to remember. And when you plug the WLAN box into the central station, that makes the mobile station the secondary device and the central station the primary device. So it's that kind of thing you always have to remember when you're plugging more than one controller in. And let's see, like I said here in the last paragraph was the bonus, the joystick controller from the startup line, where that should be the My World line, can receive the signals from the WLAN box 60117, can receive the signals from the joystick controller, which I think is a really good feature.
Nice.
Um, Other than that, the card slot has been deleted. There's no card slot in it. I don't know if you noticed that yet, Curtis, or not, but I guess with all the wireless components in there, they deleted the card slot because it was rarely used anyway, at least as far as I know. So,
Well, I guess it's a scalar thing too. If you think about the mobile station users as opposed to central station users, where they could have a larger collection, I would imagine the mobile station just pretty much draws its information from the CS3 anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you could access a locomotive on a card in a wired mobile station connected to the same box. But then again, that would be so kind of rare. I don't know that we'll ever get the chance to test that.
Yeah, it brings up the question of master auxiliary device.
Right,
How would that kind of pairing work?
exactly. That went through my head too, where the lowest serial number is going to be the primary device. So, um, hope I don't know where the serial number started on these and where they are on a regular mobile station. So, we can't really answer that right now.
A lot of variables right there, yeah. But
Yeah.
introductory reveal on this language setting obviously makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. As soon as I turned it on, it's like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And because it turns on saying that it's looking. It says the wireless is active. It's searching. It sees the wireless networks, and unless you know really what you're doing, it would be really kind of difficult to do it correctly the first time in a foreign language. So
Yeah. Well, so all right. Well, this will be interesting. So I have on my desk the older. What was this? I have the 60113, and that was replaced by the 114
60115.
116. There's a 114 and a 116. That's actually in my
Oh yeah,
article.
yeah. 115 is a
It's the gray box.
terminal, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So the all right. So these are the two. This is the wireless box,
Hmm.
right? And this is the connect box. This basically
That's a track box.
it's a track box that they use for
Yeah.
mobile stations. So you have your switch mode power pack plug and access to two mobile stations.
Right.
This I noticed doesn't really have any plugs. I'm assuming this little thing right here is
That's
the
just a indicator light, whether it's stopped
it's an
or
LED. Okay.
yeah, it's just an
And it
LED. That
and
that
it
plugs
has
into
the
the track
11 pin
box.
plug. So this actually goes into there.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah, and these are the same jacks, that you would have on a
Yeah,
CS3.
the
So
10 pin.
I guess to some degree you can plug this into it. If that seems redundant to me, we might have to, if I try to cover that in the article. So if you're plugging this into a CS3, which I say redundant because if your CS3 is plugged into a router, then there's really no need to have a WLAN box like
Right.
this. We'll figure that out. So, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Nice to have these on hand so we can actually see what we're getting into. All right. So does that cover us?
Yeah, you're part of the article with all the peripherals.
Yep. So let's get into that. I will share my screen. Get to this. Okay. And share screen. That will be this one. I believe, is that correct? Scrolling up and down. All right, good. Okay, so what we have is basically a listing of part numbers that stem from any kind of control connections that hopefully or that are in the catalog and somewhat they would probably be in the newer catalog. I don't think I've received anything yet on the new one. This is from the 2022-2023 catalog, with the exception of the wireless modules, which I've added in here. That's 60667 and what is it, 60117 right down here. So that one and this. Oops. Okay, so self-explanatory as far as our controllers. I don't cover the CS2 with the exception. The CS2 actually has 602.13, 1.4, and 1.5. Central Station 2, 602.15. Pretty much I should be hardware version 4.0. Which will allow it to be used as a booster, which is the equivalent of the 60175 booster. The other booster that's sort of an equivalent to the 175 is 60174. That's the gray box booster. And previous versions, which are just the 6017s, are non-MFX. So just kind of be aware of that. So these are your mobile stations. If you need controllers, like if you're on your base setup, for instance, all these 4 units here do require a switch mode power pack. And these are, as we scroll down here, so these are your controllers. You have these switch mode power packs. These are not transformers. The CS3 will not work with a transformer, even though it will boot up. The control, it doesn't actually allow any kind of control of it. So you need a switch mode power pack. You can see the one in the middle is a larger one for 1 gauge or G gauge LGB users. The smaller switch mode power pack, the wall wart, is generally used for the mobile stations and can also be used for the S88s, which you can see are listed here. There are 3 versions
One
of this. Go ahead.
one thing real quick is the 60174 and 60175 will use a regular transformer.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, you can use a regular transformer for those boosters.
And that would be a 6001 or 60055 if you have those from your older systems.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. But the switch mode power packs are required for the controllers, not the boosters, as Rick says. Now, the switch mode power pack is not used. It's only needed for the 60883, by the way. That's the S88 link. Because the standard this is a standard S88 AC. There's a DC model that's the 60882. It doesn't actually have any kind of power input for it. It just feeds directly out of the CS32. And this is your booster cable right here. This is your booster unit. The booster unit has a 7-pin port, which we can kind of get into in a bit. So boosters are, for those of you who really don't know what the boosters reinforce your digital control signal. And as far as power versus digital control signals, you are going to actually lose your digital control signal integrity before you're going to lose power. So do not sort of think of that as an equivalent. If you're running a layout and you seem to be having control issues where like locomotives are non-responsive, you generally have 2 options. You can see if you can mitigate that with extra track feeds, because track feeds will degrade if you have maybe too long of a stretch between track feeds. General rule of thumb is about 6 feet of running length for another track feed. If that does not solve the problem, then you will need to have a booster, and your booster sections need to be insulated. And I'll cover a little bit more on that. But again, your digital control signal will degrade faster than your power output ever could. So generally we'll get some comments that say, oh, I have plenty of voltage, but I need more power. It's like, it's not power. It's going to be more your digital control if you lose control of your locomotives. But it can be mitigated by power feeds. The other likely cause could be, if you're having control issues, make sure your track is clean. All right, next up. So that is S88's S883. That's the switch mode power pack for the S883. Now, as I mentioned previously, these boosters have a 7-pin port and 7-pin plug. And on the back of your CS3, for instance, you may only have 1 7-pin plug. I forget, that's the CS3 Plus. Was it the CS3 has two of those ports, I believe. I don't have my CS3.
Doesn't here, I got mine here. I'll check it and get back.
Yeah. I think the CS3 had a double. It's got one double plug on something, and I forget which exactly.
Yeah, I have the plus here, and there's only one port,
Yeah.
one 7-pin.
And so to expand those 7 ports, then you would actually need to get a terminal 60145 box. And this takes up that one 7-pin port and will actually expand it because there are 4 7-pin ports on each on total on the sides. And the opposite side of the cable is basically an extension port, so you can daisy chain these terminals together. So let's say you're quite wealthy and you have more than 4 boosters, then you definitely want to get 2 of these terminals. This also has an input port for the S88 link, so you can actually plug an S88 into that as well. It's just kind of multi-pin port. It's your basic, I would say your peripheral access is the terminal. So this usually comes to necessity for those who are with larger layouts who definitely need boosters. Our first cable connection is the 123 cable, 60123. So 60 generally tends to be the prefix here. So occasionally you'll just hear me mention the last 3 digits. This allows you to connect multiple central stations together. On the end of the cable, it has a 6-pin and a 9-pin connection. The 6-pin goes to the master controller, the main controller, and the 9-pin is the auxiliary plug. One way to think about that is the 6-pin, the master really only needs to send a signal out. And so, it's pretty much a one-way ticket, right? So on the other end, and that's not an accurate statement to make, but the 9-pin plug, think of it this way: it's receiving the 6-pin input from the master, but it needs to return a 9-pin signal or the extra 3 pins to go back to the main controller. So that's one way you can look at it. Just remember, the larger pin count goes to the auxiliary controller, because I'll tend to forget that, and it's good to label each end. So if you don't have it on your system all the time, like I don't, because of shows and stuff, it gets disconnected. The next cable is the mobile station cable. It's an adapter cable, because the mobile station has what is it, a 10-pin plug, and you have 2 10-pin ports on a central station 3 in the front. And if you need to extend it, then you need to basically, like, if you want to plug it into a terminal to create a longer extension to the mobile station from the central station, then you will need this adapter cable so you can plug it into the terminal. That's this box right here. So it's just an adapter. You can see the little sort of a rat tail there. You just plug into that. Now we do have extension cables for the you can use it on the 60123. That's a 9-pin to 9-pin extension cable. So you can basically expand distances between a central station, 2 central stations, or a central station and a terminal box. So like if you find, I forget how long this is, it's like a 4-foot cable on this terminal.
Yeah, I think they're usually about a meter.
Yeah, meter. Yeah. So this will actually expand it to a longer distance. Like that's the 60126, 9-pin to 9-pin. It's kind of funny. I think in the manual, when I look at that, it doesn't. There are some times where they don't actually list what the pin count is, and when you're looking at the back of your CS3, for instance, just like, which cable do I need? So it's good to kind of have this kind of listed where the pin count. If you have multiple mobile stations. Then the predecessor was the 60113 box, which we'd shown earlier on there, but they upgraded the casing. So there is a 60114 and a 60116 connection box. Rick mentioned the 60115, which is funny because it was not actually in the catalog. So obviously it kind of got replaced to it. The difference between those is basically the plug-in connection. So the 60116 has actually it has the SPAY connections for C-Track, and you would just basically, if you need to clip those, you can use it for K-Track or N-Track. Forget what input plugs N-Track uses. C-Track, whether it's Trix or Marklin, you can work with that. The 117 is the wireless box. It doesn't actually have track outputs. So there might be misinformation here, if I think about it. The 114 box is for 1 gauge, Marklin's 1 gauge, so it has rail connections for it. And you could probably clip those for use with LGB. And let's see. So again, this connection, go ahead.
A 115 box is just an older version of the track box.
Yeah, was that in black? It was in black, wasn't it?
No, it was gray. It was gray.
Is that a gray box still? Okay. So they must have upgraded it for something here. So this is for adding 2 mobile stations to it. There was stated in the catalog, and Rick kind of had details on this, that it stated if you have 2 distribution hubs, was that, let's see, that's a 60112.
60145, right? The terminal?
No, let's see what it says. Terminal is a 6. I think I have an error in the page numbering here, because it says, where'd I go? Terminal?
The terminal is what you can plug more mobile stations into.
Yeah, what was the distribution?
But you need the 60124 10 pin to 7 pin adapter.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. So basically I have a listing for 60112, which is a distribution hub. And
I don't think that's available anymore.
Oh, it isn't. Okay, so it was in the catalog. So that could be an error right there. But it just says you can connect 10 mobile station controllers to 60114 or 116. And you had mentioned something about the terminal, about that count being incorrect, but that's what was listed on the 112. So
yeah, well, technically you can, but if you daisy chain another one, you're taking away 1 port and gaining 5 more. So,
yeah,
it's however you want to look at it, basically.
Yeah, 10 mobile station controllers seems kind of overkill. Just get the wireless unit. Next up is there's interference suppressors. There are 2 types. There's a box type, which initially we saw in a CS2, and it's rated for a 5 amp, whereas the one that's pictured here, it's a noise suppression box. It's a 2 amp. This is an FCC regulated device that needed to be included. As far as our experience goes, I've never really seen any issue for the CS3 version, the box version, or I mean the box version, the 5 amp. But we have seen errors or heard of errors using the 2 amp version. It basically has interfered with the signal controls to your devices. So in most cases, we do recommend you do not use these, or as Rick says, just throw it away. But if you need to hang on to it, it's kind of up to you. If you do have electrical interference, then I would wait till then to actually install this. But otherwise, do not use this unless you have issues. Any comment that you have on that one?
No, the problem we saw was someone would buy a new set and it had the mobile station and a train in it, and they would end up having troubles because they were new to Marklin, and they would end up deleting the locomotive, and then it wouldn't re-register because of this interference suppressor. And so once you remove the interference suppressor, everything worked fine.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if the new sets even come with this interference suppressor anymore.
And really that is our perspective, because we've only had these in discussion with us for people who've gotten them in sets and just put them into their layout. We've never really run across anybody who's purchased this separately and installed it into their layout. So again, we don't use those. Now again, there was a little box unit that was probably about a 1.5 by 1 inch box by it's like 2 inches long or something like that, and those were initially used in the CS2s, and we've never really had any problem with it. But with the CS3, we've never used that box at all, and I really haven't run
No.
into that issue. So yeah, these
It was only that with a mobile station, and we haven't even had that issue in years.
yeah, so it just could be, it's a regulation from FCC that it had to be included. So I don't think you get arrested. So now the peripheral connections, um, these are basically has a 4-pin mini DIN connector that allows you to connect to, I'm guessing you can connect to a switch mode power pack. I don't really know
Yes,
what the socket end is on that,
it
but
is. It's the same as a central station, and that just basically gives you a connection for auxiliary power. Street lights,
yeah,
whatever you have going on, so you're not using track power. You can use a whole other power supply, and this
yeah,
breaks it down into the standard Marklin colors of yellow and brown for your
exactly.
auxiliary power needs.
No, there is sort of a discrepancy between Rick, or maybe I don't know. We kind of discussed this because the original color coding was that there was an AC output from the old white boxes that had that color coding, and I just assumed they were DC outputs. You might want to check the voltage. I don't think it would be DC AC output on the switch mode power pack. So, but it just uses a standard color coding. Um, so you can check that. Obviously, with a voltmeter, it'll tell you one way or the other. Finally, the last thing that we actually had listed was the 6021 Connect. This is integration for older white box controllers like the 6021, and even the keyboard units that they used to have. For those unfamiliar with that, I forget what the part number was, but those were the switch boxes that allowed you control
60/40,
60 what 6040.
60/40.
Yeah,
But that's the interface for the 6020 system. I'm sorry,
yeah,
6021 system, and you need the 6021 connected to your 6040s and your 6050s for them to work
yeah.
through your central station. They basically become auxiliary devices at that point.
Yeah, just if it's good for backward compatibility for people with established layouts, um, and that's what it's there for. I know they used to have that the PC connection box. I forget I thought that was what this was, but yeah, they don't make that anymore. You can probably find them used if you really wanted to. It works on an older system, but I don't really see any kind of value for non-programmers. And anyways, that basically covers it. So if you see any of these parts, the part numbers are all kind of listed here in this top list. And they are all basically, what you may need for, if you need to have more controls, accesses, cables, extensions, so on and so forth. And that pretty much kind of covers that topic. I see here at the bottom, we actually have our online webinar, which we are making up for it there. Our next visible show that Marklin representatives will be at Amherst Railway Society, January 27th, 28th, on the 24th, January 24th. And we'll stop sharing there. Oh, stop. Okay, so that pretty much covers the newsletter. Then let's see, what's our next segment?
The look what I got.
Look what I got.
Look what I got. And I wanted to cover one thing where, um, being it's Christmas in 1993, Marklin came out with their first regular issue, as I call it, Christmas car. Okay, this is a car. This is the car that came out in 1993. You could order it. Any dealer could get it. It wasn't a specific country car where Marklin had those before. They had put out previous Christmas cars, but not like in the catalog, advertised in the catalog. They were always kind of a special thing. And from what I noticed, they were normally European, other European countries. I could be mistaken on that, but I know 1993 was when they first came out with Christmas cars for regular issues, and this is the first Christmas car. So if you're looking for it, these are readily available in the secondary market. But the hard one to find is the 1994 car, which looks almost exactly like it, except it says 1994 on it instead of 1993. And so what happened with this one is, when this came out, I was working at a train shop, and I basically said, no, I don't want that car. It looks just like last year. And there was a separate car that came out, and it looks totally different. And I should have actually grabbed it off the layout because I have it right outside my door. But the funny story is, and I'll cover this again from our previous webinar, was Curtis and I were doing a lot of buying on secondary market, eBay or whatnot. And he saw this car and he said, look, this one's different. It says 1994. And I had forgotten about it. And this is probably around 2004 or so. So it was about 10 years old. And Curtis emailed me and said he had dibs on the auction. He gets to bid on it. So, okay, he saw it first. He gets it. So because he actually forgot about the auction and he didn't bid on it. And as soon as the auction was up, I was watching it and it said, no bids. So I emailed the guy right away. I said, do you still have that car? I'll pay you, whatever it was in the auction. So I did. And he sent it to me. But I don't know, probably a day or so after that, Curtis realized he forgot about it. And he contacted the same seller. And the seller said, no, I've already sold it. Well, little did Curtis know, the guy sold it to me. And we'd have regular running sessions as we were building a layout at Curtis's house there. And I brought this car over and I put it on and, wanted to see how long it took him to notice, which it didn't take him very long at all. He goes, oh, you got that car. I missed that auction, blah, 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 blah. I go, yeah. I emailed the guy right away and he sold it to me. And so, yeah, it was really funny, but I felt guilty. And so it took me, I think another 10 to 12 years before another one came up on eBay. And I saw it came up. I bought it. Didn't tell Curtis. He never saw it because, I didn't call dibs. I think it was a buy it now or whatnot. So I bought it and I finally gave it to Curtis so I could sleep at night. And, 10 years of not sleeping because I was feeling guilty. I felt much better. So the reason I'm saying this is because about a month ago, I saw one come up on eBay. And I just woke up in the middle of the night. It's like, well, I can't sleep. Let's see what's on eBay. So I looked at it and I found it. And I bought it here for our office here at Marklin because these things are so hard to come by. They're so rare, but nobody knows about them because it just looks like the 93 car. Nobody pays attention. So I looked it up in my Kohl's special catalog, and there was only 1,000 of these produced, according to the Kohl's. So there's only 1,000 of these out there, and I've seen 4 of them. 3 of them I bought. One for me, one for Curtis, one for the office, and one when I worked at the train shop because I said I didn't want it. So if you ever see the 1994 Christmas car that looks like the 93, I would suggest getting it because it's a rare find. It's a rare car. Um, Nobody knows they exist or they just don't pay attention. So um, that's my spiel on the 1993 and 1994 Christmas cars.
Well, there you go.
There's only two Christmas cars that are I wouldn't say duplicated, but in 1994 was obviously two Christmas cars, and in 1996 there were two Christmas cars. And I should probably run that video because I have it on my computer of all the Christmas cars. Let me see if I could do that real quick, and let's go
Yeah,
through this.
should run that.
Bore people with the Christmas cars here. And these are the Christmas cars in order. You'll see the 93 and 94 and two of the 96s if you actually want to sit there and count like a kid at a railroad crossing. And we'll share this screen, and it's going to be a little choppy because it doesn't come through really well on this. There's 93, 94. There's the 94, 95. Here's the two 96s.
Okay,
And
you
then
should talk about
on,
the difference between those 96 ones.
I will. Well, I guess I can while it's running. The difference of the 96s is they have Merry Christmas in different languages. One car has Merry Christmas in 3 languages. The other car has Merry Christmas in 5 languages. So, and they were both regular issue. You could get both versions.
I need a resource to see if I can find some old Christmas cars. It's 2 I'm missing.
Yeah, so there it is. There's all the Christmas cars so far. For those of you who are curious, it's obviously they've been doing it for 30 years, but there are 32 cars because there's 2 with 2 years that are special. So go out and find them, people. Let me know if you find
No, don't find them
1994.
yet. I gotta find my 2 cars first.
Well, you gotta run it again so you can see which ones you need.
Well, I know which ones I know which ones I need. So I need 48411 and 48412.
So that's 2011, 2012.
2011, 2012.
There you go.
I see one guy who wants almost the same price in shipping as he wants to sell it for.
And it's amazing when these things can't come out. They're, these older ones were like, $30, $35. And you look at the price tags of some of them that I bought, they're up to $50, $55. I don't know what they are nowadays. But the simpler ones seem to be less expensive, and I like them all just the same.
Well, another thing is they do have occasionally they run into this design issue that they set up these cars where they're too tall for a layout with catenary, and it's so annoying. Like if you backwound it, you could see there's the one with the angels on it. That one is just, you cannot run that.
There's one that's worse, and it's this.
Yeah, that's one with the candles, isn't it?
Yeah, this one right here, and I don't have the candles on it, but it's this one right here.
Yeah.
A candle goes on top of each point on top here, and there's no way it's going to clear your tunnels or your catenary. So, but it's still, it's a Christmas car. It's still part of the collection.
Gotcha. No, yeah, it's always
so
good.
Yeah, we've been collecting Christmas cards for 30 years now, Curtis.
Yeah, nearly.
Crazy.
30 years. I just missed those 2 years because I couldn't really get them. So
crazy.
Yeah.
We might be hooked.
Cool. Thanks for getting me the 94 box. So.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell anyone, but once in a while you're worth it.
In that rare occasion.
One thing I did get that I forgot to mention in the other webinar, does this look familiar?
I got one of those. What is that? I forget.
This is the
That's the
spare
top of
pantograph.
that's for the top of the ballast damper, isn't it? Or
Yes, it
the
is. Yes, it
what's
is, because this is all an all plastic pantograph there.
yeah.
And so they break really easy. And I've broken mine, but I've since been able to fudge it. But yeah, I use something really, really fragile on a locomotive. I'll usually order a couple of spare parts. That way I have them in case I do a repair for somebody. I can hang on to that or
It's
replace mine or whatnot.
it's good to have that cart, just that part. I saw
Yeah,
that, and it's just like, oh, what is this? So,
just throw it in the box with the ballast tamper. And what'd you get?
so we basically, so we did a full unboxing that on our initial day of this broadcast, which fortunately you don't get to see that, but what I received in the latest shipment was the wireless box, which you saw earlier, the connection box, which was the 60117. That would be that. And then I think Rick and we both received, these are the insider cars. Let's see if we can get
Yes.
a drop of
Yep,
that.
I got mine.
Yeah, so you got yours there. And then the one thing we got was the new Christmas locomotive they had released, and I have to do a little bit. Mine wasn't quite sitting right, so look at this. It's a little sharp little thing. It's got sound decoder. Looks really cool. I got some piping that needs to be adjusted because this cab pops off. It's really teeny tiny speakers in there. Why don't I just kind of pull it off
And it's
here?
got that red is a metallic red. It's a really nice looking locomotive. I was on the fence about getting it and decided not to. Those are the speakers
The
in
speakers,
it
this is
in the
the
cab.
top cab.
So
So I'm looking at this without my glasses, so I haven't quite detected the metallic paint on it, but I'm kind of happy I got it. It's got some nice detail. Actually, I do see a little bit of the shimmer.
yeah, the Halloween car is here in case just in time for Halloween next year.
Is that so I might have to order that because I didn't order that. It looks like there's a different thing on the top there. What's
It has a ghostly sound in it, and you can record your own greeting. Let's say
what's that? 44, what's the part number there? 44234?
yes,
Send it over.
44234.
I'll send it
So
over.
these are available as of now,
Yeah.
until we run out. You should do one of the UP locomotives or the Kansas City Southern real quick.
Yeah, I'll do that. So, and then I received some more of these that
Yeah,
hadn't got the full set yet.
good job on that.
And so we'll do. So they have Marklin has just kind of started sending up. There are two of these. I'll pull up the case Kansas City. Two UP model diesels. These are the. What's it? It's the GE ES 444 ACs.
Yeah,
Yeah. And there are two numbers on that. There's this one 38441 and 38440. And this is the Kansas City model, which I will pull out of the box for you folks. So, obviously, truly doing this thing live when you're pulling it out of the plastic sleeves. And when you do these plastic sleeves, you got all the little side
the
panels.
little detail parts and stuff.
Everything starts falling off which way.
Yeah, you got to be careful. The little eyedropper for the smoke is clear and it's hard to see.
Yeah, you got a little pipette there. And initially for the newer style smoke units, make sure you don't run those reservoirs dry for your smoke fluid. We don't know if they have actually corrected for basically I think they were putting too much power through it, and if you left them dry, they would basically burn out a component. But I think they might have re-regulated it on the controller side. But this is the Kansas City right there. Terrible background.
Yeah.
There's some foam right here that guards against guardrails.
Yeah, the foam in there, you can't see the Kansas City Southern logo.
Yeah, they pull inside out. Interesting foaming. It's angled up. Pulling on a railing. I gotta make sure I don't pull on the railing. There you go.
There we go.
Nice color scheme. Good, Kansas City.
We actually drove to Chicago a couple weekends ago to do a in-store at Reynolds, and we did see that locomotive on the way and the UPs. Excuse me, not that road number, but
yeah. But this, man, it's got some nice heft to it, as Marklin.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah. So looking forward to running this on the layout. They let's see, what was it they issued as far as new rolling stock? Was that just
hoppers for the UP?
Yeah. I mean, they also, what did they have, those oil cars that were just European style oil cars in UP colors?
That was the auxiliary tender for the was it the 844? For the big boy, the two auxiliary tenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even got buffers.
So yeah, sweet. You can kind of see these on display over Rick's right shoulder.
Right up here.
Yeah.
Along with the 844.
Yep. There's a special meaning to that. We'll give everybody some credit if they can figure out what those 4 locomotives have that makes them displayable.
Besides being North American models.
Yep.
Because that's just too easy.
Yes. So we'll send the comments to Marklin at digital.com.
No, digital at Marklin.com.
Digital at Marklin.com. Yeah, sorry. My brain is processing getting these plastics back in the correct way.
If you can figure out what all 4 of these locomotives have in common besides being North American models, send your answer to digital at Marklin.com and we'll say yes or no, and that'll probably be the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Unless we figure out some tchotchke to send you. Maybe a cup, a cozy, cup cozy.
An LGB koozie.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is that all that's left is the LGB koozies?
Maybe. That's all we ever had was LGB.
Oh, wait, really? There were no Marklin ones?
No.
So.
But
anyways,
you might not get anything.
Or you might not get anything. You get our eternal gratitude for viewing our webinars.
For being as big a dork as we are.
So, but yeah, again, this was, we needed to make up for an error in actually being able to initiate the live webcast. So anyways, I believe that's it. Thank you for watching.
Well, one thing, what we have here in stock in the warehouse, which I think people, well, I should say I like, is the black RC4.
Oh yeah.
Along with the black cars. This looks so good going around a layout. The all black. I recommend ordering one from your dealer while supplies last, because we don't have too many left. Another thing, for the kiddos, we still have some of the Justice League locomotive and also some of the superhero cars. And what you get with each one of these superhero cars, I got these sitting on top of a box here, so forgive me, is an action figure. These are cast zinc and painted. and they're painted really well once you get to look at them real close. Superman and Wonder Woman look just absolutely wonderful. They all have great metallic paint um, on them, but they just did. It seems like the colors that they picked or whatnot for Superman and Wonder Woman just came out wonderful. Um, there's also a couple. Didn't you get one? You got one of the Joker, which the Joker was only available in a starter set.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Oops. Sorry, it's in storage. Yeah, they had the Joker that came in a starter set with three different cars, Batman and
Yeah, and I've never even seen that figure yet. Um, what else do we have in stock still? Oh, we still have some G2000s. These are really nice modern locomotives. I think they're kind of a boxy design, and for some reason, I kind of like it
what's the
in
road name
whatever
on that?
paint scheme. Pardon me?
What's the road name? Belgian?
Rotterdam rail feeding.
Hmm.
This is a rail feeding locomotive. Looks good. We have some of the die-cast cars still too. You're into the collecting the die-cast cars. These are the what are these? They're Tempo Hochlander. Yeah, trucks. Nice little trucks. They're not. I think they're more. I think they're even bigger than one scale. But this is a throwback to when Marklin used to do the die-cast cars. Also, um, they're always good. But anyway, I think that's about all I have.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anything else from
Did
you.
you did you notice the Schuko bus behind me, Curtis?
I did notice the Shiko bus. Did you wire some
That thing
lighting in?
is that thing is huge. It's a monster. It's so detailed. It's really cool. We brought that back from I think the IMA days. I think the boss brought that back. I'm gonna put it out on display in the showroom.
Didn't they have they had a Marklin one, didn't they? In one gauge.
Yeah, yeah. HO and O gauge, HO and O. This is obviously bigger than either of those. This is just a huge display piece, and it's
Oh,
so detailed. It's really cool.
had it shipped over, did they?
Yeah, had a little bit of damage that I had to fix on it, so that's why it's in here.
Well, good job.
So, um, I don't think I have any more to add.
What's that on the top of the display case? I see five cars. Two of them are sort of like
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked.
nice. You
Knock down a Christmas
just
tree.
knocked down Christmas.
Uh-oh, Christmas Christmas went down, but that's okay. Christmas still works. That's all the cords I have to light it. Well, right here and right here, these are some of my favorite cars. That's why they're on the display case. All right.
And now I'm hating myself for asking.
Yeah. This, you know
when
who
did
that
you
is?
when did you get the one below that done?
That one is 2019 at the IMA days. This is
That was
that's
your first trip out there.
that's my first trip out there. That's obviously myself. In the middle is our friend
Oh,
Andreas
and
and our
Walter.
friend Walter. So this is when I first found out about these cars at the IMA days. You can get them printed with your face on it. And then if you guys have tuned in before, last time I went, they do this at the little shop where they sell Marklin at the factory,
Yeah.
and you can go and have your face printed on a car. And when I did this, I did two of them and gave one to Curtis, which we were talking after our top 10 useless items after we had shut down. I was surprised that Curtis didn't pull this out and say it was his number one useless item on a layout
No,
from Marklin.
I
Yeah,
pulled out the Sinclair tank cars.
yeah. But you see, I even have my own item number. So you might, I don't know, you could try order from the factory. You might be able to order one of me from the factory with that number.
In the
I don't
picture.
know. I don't know what'll happen.
All right. Well, what about the other two, the darker colored cars at the top there? What are those three?
Those are orphans from starter sets.
Oh, okay. The two,
And
those
so,
two are the two of those, right?
yeah, this is the index car because this is my favorite beer in the world. If you've tried it, you will know. And then this is a Ottakringer, another beer. This is an Austrian beer,
Mm.
and I've been to both these breweries in Austria and Germany. This is a monastery. This is a brewery in I want to say Vienna, but I don't think it's quite in Vienna. Yeah. So anyway, I just have those up there, and the first Marklin decoder, if I can get my finger to work here, right there.
Yeah.
One of the first series Marklin decoders, and this is a box car. It's an old. It's not old. It's new. It's a just the bare injection molded body of
Gotcha.
the old dome roof box car that I found out here. Because they were tossing it. And also one thing,
What's in
they
Rick's
were just
office?
I know they were just tossing these, and it's like, it's really shouldn't toss these. These are the chrome plated F7s from LGB bodies, and you just never see these. They're not in the best shape, but it's part of the process they did when they did the Santa Fe's um, this past couple years, where they did the real chrome plating on the side. BMW did the chrome plating on the side, so it's just kind of neat to see them sort of say bare.
So did
Um,
they just send them to the warehouse, and the warehouse is just going to toss them?
yeah, yeah, they tossed them. I actually fished them out of the garbage can, not the dumpster. I didn't go dumpster diving, but I did see them in the garbage. It's like, no, these things should be preserved somehow or another. So there they are until I throw them away.
Yeah. I'm gonna take my I'm gonna take my my car with your face on it and replace the eyes with some red LEDs. I think that would be
Well, I'm
pretty.
surprised you didn't give me. Well, I guess a mustache wouldn't work because I have a mustache in there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the red demon eyes will work pretty well. Maybe I'll put these LEDs on them.
But the little tiny, tiny ones,
They'll
yeah,
flash in all kind of different colors.
yeah.
All right.
That'll
Well,
just make mine more valuable. Instead of two in the world, there will only be one.
well, I would do that for you.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So, okay, well, very good. I think that kind of covers our our webinar for this month.
Yeah.
For those who are reviewing it in the before the holidays, have a happy holidays.
Yes. Yes.
And
We've successfully passed our makeup test.
yeah, um, if not, say hello to Rick if you see him in January.
Amherst.
Yep, and we'll catch up with you. Our next webinar will be in February. So
Yes. Um, should be around February
second week, whatever that is.
second Wednesday in February, most likely. How's that?
Yeah, calendar's not pulling up here. Let's see. That would be February 14th, Valentine's Day. So nothing
There you
special.
go. Something to share with your wife or girlfriend.
Yeah. You sit in front of your monitor watching us yammer on. So all right.
Should
I
we
think we'll end it
apologize
there.
now?
Yeah. I think we'll end it there. Rick will send out more cars with this picture on it.
There you go. There you
So,
go.
okay.
Okay. Well, goodbye, everyone. See you next time, and have happy holidays.
Yep. You all take care, and we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.